game is brought to you in HDTV by HP. Of course, Memphis now on a 10-game win streak after winning its first 26 of the year. The only stumble was against Tennessee.
And that game may really help them today as well, because the wide open Tennessee style that's so frenetic is what Texas would like to do in this ball game, with tremendous outside perimeter shooting even on the run. So both teams helped by the outstanding competition they've played against.
It'll be Dozier of Memphis, James of Texas for the opening tap. Controlled by the Tigers.
Augustine Rose giving up size, but he's got an advantage in quickness.
Here's Anderson. So tough defensively on Friday night.
Sensational on Neitzel. Neitzel couldn't even breathe, much less get a shot off.
Now Rose kicks it back out to Anderson. And that pass thrown away. Texas forces the turnover.
Boy, and Dozier had Mason on the inside, but there was no angle for that pass.
What's the matchup you're looking for on this end?
Well, what I'm looking for is the two All-American caliber players down here, Augustine and Rose. They're matched up on both ends against each other. Critical to see if either one can get the upper hand. Both teams start out man-to-man as expected.
Mason back out to James. Jumper, no.
James will take that jumper, but Dozier can go out and play somebody. He's got the long, long arms.
Here's Rose again. He's got the size over Augustine and takes advantage for two.
Absolutely, Jim. He has size. He has power. What he likes to do is put that chest right on the opposing guard and then release the shot.
Here's Abrams driving past several players. Tough shot over Dorsey, who runs it down for Memphis.
I think Abrams wants to get a better shot than that early in this ball game. And there goes the power man again.
Kick back out, Douglas Roberts. He's ready now. Puts up the three. First five of the game. Go to Memphis.
And again, talking about the differential in size. Beautiful dish.
Actually dunks it down to put Texas on the board with a thunder dunk.
Jim, there's not a point guard in the United States that sees the floor as well as Augustine. He knows when to penetrate. He knows when to kick. He's totally in control.
He saw Dorsey come up to double team and took advantage of it. And Rose is shaken up again. That happened twice on Friday night. He took a shot to the eye, had a cut over his right eye.
I think it's bleeding again. They took him to the locker room, and Rick Barnes was kidding. I mean, John Calipari was kidding as to why was in the locker room so long. He does not like stitches. John said that if he didn't get out there soon, he was going to get it himself.
So they bring in Andre Allen, number 15.
Big drop off.
Douglas Roberts short with the shot. Rebound to Mason.
Jim, the reason I say a big drop off, Allen is strong, he's quick, but he's given up size now to Abrams on the wing.
James over Dorsey. He gets this one. So after the first five to Memphis, Texas comes back with the next four.
James only shooting 57% from the foul line, but he's shooting 44% from three.
It's Dozier. Short shot, back of the rim. Dorsey, so strong inside. And the tap.
Powerful young man.
That's a big question there. How is Texas going to match up with that body?
Well, what I was so impressed with him, and there's that crossover dribble again. They got the numbers 3-on-1.
The back right side, Douglas Roberts on the collision in air, and he'll be shooting a couple of free throws where he starred the other night.
Jim, there was a case where Allen would have been better off driving that ball to the center of the foul line and get the lanes filled so it didn't make such a difficult shot.
That was James on the foul for the Longhorns. Douglas Roberts hit 11 out of 12 at the line against Michigan State. Of course, the free throw story is such an ongoing saga for this Memphis program.
Well, Jim, they were 26 for 35 the other day. I've been saying it all year long. They have nice releases on their shot, with the exception maybe of Dorsey. So it's just a matter of concentration for this team. They should never be below 60% as a free throw shooting club.
Rose wasn't out for very long. He returns.
In the last 10 champs, Jim, of the NCAA tournament have all shot over 70% from the foul line. So if there is an omen, that's something that they're going to have to improve on, as they did the other day.
Largest deficit of the tournament for Texas. They trailed by only 2 points in the game against Miami and against Stanford to start. And a follow-up by Mason.
And there we start talking about the third guard, but Mason plays so much bigger than his size. It's amazing, isn't it, Jim?
He went right in there and was not going to be denied. Here he is with the steal. It's Mason taking off and knocks it down. 9-8 now, Memphis.
Now there was a situation where Memphis got themselves out of floor balance. Dozier should never be handling the ball at the top of the key. He's back with it again. This plays into Texas's hands.
Dozier pinned for a while, gets it out to Anderson. And a push-off call. It's going to go against Abrams.
Well, here's what the tough matchup has been all year. Douglas Roberts, he's about 6'6", plays even taller with those long arms. And you get an Abrams matched up against him, it's really difficult.
He's a finalist for the Wooden Award, and he inbounds it out to Anderson.
They set up in a zone out-of-bounds situation, 2-3 zone now. Memphis would rather penetrate inside the zone than shoot out of it, and that's what they do. Terrific job by coming right over to the foul line, filling the void area in the 2-3 zone.
And Douglas Roberts found the open seam. Kick out here, Augustine. Thought about it, now takes it. Rose skies for the board.
Well, that was real nice help. Dorsey going out on the guard. Rose going in as a...
Oh, Rose all the way from a sky rebound to a layup between two defenders.
Texas got back and down, drive that ball right back as we saw in the Carolina game yesterday. Mason would go ahead and have a score against him and then just push the ball quickly up the floor.
That is swatted away by Douglas Roberts, who has 7 points. Tigers with the edge early. You know, Texas has some very impressive victories this season, Billy. You look at the final AP poll, they got 3 wins against top 5 teams. Only team in the country can lay claim to that.
That's right. They're the only school in the country that beat 3 of the top 5. They beat UCLA at UCLA. And, you know, we were talking about this yesterday, and I thought that Collison didn't play in that UCLA game, but he did play. You know, I remembered early in December I thought they were without him, but that is a very impressive win. And as I said again, the games against Kansas really help them playing against a team that matches up similar to Kansas, as does Memphis.
They'd love to see UCLA one more time as Texas turns it over.
Great set play that time, set up by Rick Barnes. It didn't work out. Should have been a layup for Connor Atchley.
Something very rare for Texas, turning it over. They commit the fewest of any team in Division I basketball. Memphis with the 5-point lead.
There's the tough matchup right there, size-wise.
Douglas Roberts over 2 players. No. Long rebound, Atchley.
Bad job that time by Dozier. James really gets out on the break.
Flips it over to Abrams. Puts up the floater, too strong.
Dozier and Dorsey have to realize that Atchley is trying to help out all he can. Chris Douglas Roberts.
Now Rose driving into the paint. What a start for the freshman Derrick Rose out of Chicago.
Jim, he not only is quick, but when he elevates, he uses that chest of his. It's so powerful. He keeps the defenders away from him. He takes the ball to the basket better than any of these outstanding freshman guards that played in college basketball this year.
And that's a foul outside on Rose.
Now, I think it's going to be called on Dorsey. A weak foul on his part.
They do call it on Rose.
Oh, they did get it on Rose. It was a lucky break there for Memphis because Dorsey reached in, and you don't want him in early foul trouble.
Texas bringing in a sub. It's Gary Johnson, freshman from right here in Houston. And he'll replace Damian James.
Well, Rick Barnes got outstanding play from 2 big men, Pittman and Chapman, the other day. We haven't seen them yet.
Now Augustine, high arcing shot, misses everything. He hasn't had a good look at it yet. There's 2 outside shots where he's well guarded.
Yeah, Jim, there's a size differential for him there. He's going to have a better look. Nice crossover dribble.
Rose gets free and takes advantage of that one.
He almost broke Augustine's leg on that crossover. That caught behind the screen. That doesn't happen often.
Got 8 points. He's hit his first 4 shots. Intercepted. Douglas Roberts on the pick.
Underestimated Douglas Roberts' wingspan.
And actually reaches in on the shot. So another impressive start from Memphis. We'll be checking in Sean Taggart. But first, the Longhorns going to try to settle things down. Rick Barnes calls a timeout. 17-8, Memphis on an 8-0 run. Jim Nance and Billy Packer in Houston. Will this be the year, the first time that 4 #1 seeds make the Final Four? 2 superpowers already in, UCLA and North Carolina.
That's not bad. 17 and 18, 2 power programs. Ben Allen's getting to the point like he believes that he belongs there. Coach Wooden took a long time while he was coaching at UCLA to get him to a Final Four, and then when he took him there, he was pretty successful. So Ben Holland, I'm sure, would like to say, well, I'm tired of taking him there. I want one of those titles.
3 straight years.
Some.
Yep, 3 in a row. Memphis now at the line with Douglas Roberts would like to get off this 3-year run of making it only to the regional final. Not to disparage making a regional final, but when you're that close, as they've been the last 2 years, defeated by UCLA 2 years back, Ohio State last year, they're aching to get to that next step.
And there's Taggart with that length again, and the length of Memphis is really starting to show, Jim, at every position. Anderson hasn't been a big factor yet, but he's got about 3 inches on the man guarding him. Actually about the same size as Taggart, but then you've got Dozier with a good 4 or 5 inches on Mason, Texas in the 2-3 zone.
That was the first foul on Augustine and the 4th team foul. And that rebound swiped out of the air by Mason.
Nobody ready for an offensive rebound on the play.
It's up and all net. Mason faring the best of all the Longhorns here at the start.
So he's paying that back line, so this is not a big zone that Memphis is looking at right now. If they crash the boards offensively, they ought to be able to get something.
Douglas Roberts, that long rebound bouncing out to Abrams. He pulls up. That shot blocked by Rose.
Plays off a big, doesn't he?
At the other end, dishes, Taggart. And that's going to be on Ashley.
Jim, Derrick Rose putting on quite a show out here, really controlling this game. Takes the ball down inside on the drive, on the shot. Defensively, he's already had a block. He pulls up and shows medium range on his jump shot. He's got even greater range if he needs it.
It's now 2, Billy, on Connor Ashley. So they're going to bring in for the first time Dexter Pittman, number 34. They'll also take out Abrams and return Damian James.
A little chess match going on right here, seeing which team's got the depth.
Pierre Niles checks in for the first time from Memphis. Sophomore from right there in the city of Memphis.
So Pittman and Niles, watch some banging down and low there, Jim. Both carrying about 300 pounds.
That is a heavyweight battle inside.
Texas has shown some zone defense. Memphis started out in man-to-man. They're staying right with it. It's been extremely successful.
Augustine 0 of 2 from the field.
Good help by Taggart. He never should have left Augustine.
Mason driving in. Last touch by Pittman of Texas.
Jim, Pittman had an outstanding game, as did Chapman, who has not yet come into this ball game. 4 points, 6 big rebounds against Stanford, and did a great job leaning on the Lopez's.
He's had 6 rebounds in each of the 3 tournament games. It's Dexter Pittman right now manning the center of that defense, and it rattles out. There's Pittman pulling it down. Snaps the outlet to Augustine.
Wow, look at that burst of speed.
And he is fouled by Anderson on the drive.
You know, some players just have that ability going. We saw Ty Lawson from North Carolina yesterday. They can dribble, and then all of a sudden there's an afterburner, and it just blows by people. It's amazing to keep control of that ball and then be able to go at an extra speed.
Yeah, he definitely has that overdrive gear. Now he's going to shoot 2.
Kind of thought the foul was called farther out than that. That was a continuation and then some.
So first point of the game for Augustine. They called that on Niles, Billy, as Dozier and Dorsey hop back onto the floor for Memphis.
Neither one in foul trouble. They went out just to get a slight rest. In control this game, John Calipari making a nice, I think, move right there to keep his team fresh and out of any foul trouble.
And check out Willie Kemp, too, for Memphis, #1.
Here's a time against that 2-3 zone that I think that Memphis can get themselves some offensive rebounds. Kemp, a good pure shooter out here on the wing.
Douglas Roberts goes ahead and takes it. And that's going to be Dozier reaching in.
Pretty nice job by the back line of Texas blocking out Memphis on that rebound.
Memphis led by 10. It's now 7 inside 12 minutes first half. Derrick Rose leading the way for Memphis. The winner of this one goes on to San Antonio. And we've got someone here, Billy, who knows about making it to that Final Four, if you will. There is a old first baseman for Yale. Back in the 40s, he took his team to the College World Series. The first 2 years of the College World Series, former President Bush and his grandson Pierce Bush, a University of Texas man.
Yeah, Bob Dinkus got into his head the other day, said, where did you bat in the batting order? And he said, usually 8th, but I got bumped up to number 5 a time or two. So he was really so gracious.
There's Augustine, tough shot and short. Battle for it, it's going the other way.
Jim, I'm going to make a little pronouncement here. We're getting down here to halfway through this first half. I see one way for Texas to get back into this ball game and to try to take control, and that is to stay strictly on the perimeter, penetrate and kick out, looking for jump shots for Abrams. They've got to spread this court out much wider than they have so far because Memphis is just taller, they're longer, and it's going to be very difficult to get anything inside.
The last foul was on Gary Johnson. And that's a 16 foul, and the shot drops for Dozier.
Great attacking of that 2-3 zone by Memphis. They're sending Dozier primarily, and they can send any number of players right to that foul line area inside the 2-3 and get the shot off.
Augustine and Abrams, that powerful, that high-scoring backcourt for Texas. They have not hit a shot from the field.
Oh, how about that change of direction?
It's Dozier. Not this time. Tipped out. Augustine ready to run. That got shut down. Anderson's such a good defender.
Where's Abrams coming back for the ball for his jump shot? Got buried down on the baseline. Jim, see, I think Augustine needs to penetrate and look to kick out to Abrams or James. Kemp down on that baseline, really staying with Abrams. Trying to move without the ball. Stephen Curry.
Well, he penetrated, lost control of it, tipped out, stolen away by Rose, who dumps it down.
Dunked it against James, who thought he might have a chance on it, but Rose is so powerful as a finisher.
Rose has put up about 3 huge highlights already in this game. One leaping rebound at an end, taking it to the other side and laying it in. That's stealing a dunk. And they have the largest lead now. It's at 11.
It's hard not to tell if they're not boxing in one on Abrams right now because Kemp is following everywhere he's going and everybody's stationary inside. Abrams can't even get a look at the basket.
That's Rose now with 10 points. He's hit 5 out of 6 from the field.
Here we go back to the 2-3 zone. Taggart now is going to move into the center. Anderson can do likewise. Taggart not quite as sharp as Douglas Roberts as to how to play inside there, nor is he as sharp as Dozier that knows how to get in there.
That was Kemp missing from the outside. One-Minnie with the rebound for the Longhorns, who have turned it over their last 3 trips again. That's something they seldom do. And that wild shot off the mark.
The other thing that's so great about Rose, that when he gets that rebound, where's a great look, eye contact between Dorsey and Rose. Jim, when he gets the defensive rebound, he starts the fast break with his dribble, so no pass necessary. This game getting out of hand right now for Rick Barnes. He may have to get a timeout here to get a club on the floor that understands what's happening to him.
Quick shot by James. Anderson with the three.
Push off.
Dorsey got away with it. Kemp loads one up. On the floor, Longhorns come out with it. Abrams slips. No travel call.
Nice recovery by Mason.
And that's going to be Taggart with the body. And Rhodes adds another highlight here with the lob to Dorsey.
Well, Jim, you can see how Rose with his head up on that dribble had any number of options to go to, but Dorsey, not picked up by anybody, stayed on his wide lane and had a real good angle.
Texas got to solve it down at this end, Billy. You've had a couple of ideas, but
well, they really do, Jim. And what they've got to do is they've got to get Mason and Abrams out on the wings, have Augustine penetrate with a dribble, not looking to take it to the basket, just to get inside the foul line area and then kick out. They've got to get some open looks for three and come back in that area. They are an outstanding three-point shooting team, and that's how they did so well against Kansas in their victory.
Abrams gets the shot this time, and the rebound bounces out to Allen. Up ahead, Douglas Roberts, and a foul. Will they count it? Yes, they do.
Pretty good finisher. This game's getting serious right now for Texas. They're going to bring Chapman back in. Actually had the 2 fouls on it early, right, Jim? So they got to probably keep him over there, not pick up the third.
Yeah, he's sitting with 2. Douglas Roberts to the line. He has 10. Rose has 10.
And Jim, here we are at the 8-minute mark. Here, let me give you an example of stats that don't lie. When Texas wins, the opponents score roughly 61 points and shoot 36%. When they lose, the opponent scores 81 points and shoots 49%. Which way is Memphis?
Yeah, they're definitely trending toward those high numbers.
They sure are.
They got a 29-13 lead. They scored the last 9 in this game.
Well, it's not a box and one. It is a straight man-to-man, but there's what I was talking about. Drive and kick out.
Mason shot influenced, and he went long with it.
Got to kick out the three-point shots.
Jumping on the outside, that was Mack. And it's going the other way.
Dozier on a foul over the back.
Texas shooting only 28%. Timeout under 8. What a collection of teams, Billy, we're going to have in San Antonio next week. North Carolina and UCLA qualifying yesterday, winning the East and West regionals.
Well, I thought that the Hansbrough Love show was really something special. Both of those big men love to play the game of basketball. So tough. They know how to put a team on their back and lead them. Terrific job.
Here, Memphis is in the midst of a second 9-0 run of this game.
And Jim, we're talking about Texas shoots almost 39% from 3. They haven't even been able to get anything. Now, Memphis is a great three-point defensive team. They were the best in Conference USA, holding opponents to 30%. But if you're Texas, you've got to penetrate and kick out to get some looks.
Texas has not made a shot from the floor in over 6 minutes. This is their last 6 attempts.
It's got to be Mason and Abrams getting shots.
Augustine.
That's not the drive, although he got fouled right there.
Near the end of this game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. And to honor their determination and outstanding play, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Chevy, an American Revolution. Augustine back to the line.
Now, we talked about how Rick Barnes has had a great run in the state of Texas in the NCAA tournament. John Calipari Hadn't done too bad either. 12-2 in Texas and 5-0 in Houston.
How about the way that Memphis went to the Final Four in 73 and 85, the two Final Fours in school history.
Came right,
and they both came right through the city of Houston.
73 Houston and in 85 Dallas.
So trying to make it through Houston a second time here. Augustine.
Augustine's such a good thinker of what to do on the court, and he's going to have to figure this defense out.
And that ends the 9-0 run for the Tigers. 7 minutes to go in the half.
Again, the area of opening is the foul line against this 2-3 zone. Look at how small the zone is with Abrams on the back line.
Chapman trying to defend. He blocks Taggart. Loose ball picked up Abrams. Augustine up ahead. Zooms past Anderson, and Dorsey kicks it out.
That's the play right there.
Best look of the game for Augustine.
Jim, that's the offensive play right there. Penetrate and kick out to one of the jump shooters.
Texas' first field goal in over 7 minutes. It's a 3. They score 5 unanswered out of that last break. Timeout, Memphis. Getting a scholarship with 0 skills, not as unbelievable as getting real Coke taste and 0 calories. Win a $25,000 scholarship from Coke Zero at mycokerewards.com. Well, this was the point on Friday night. Memphis put the clamps on Michigan State, shut them out the last 6 minutes of the first half, and went on to the locker room with a 50-20 lead. They just saw a 7-minute stretch where they shut down Texas from the floor in, and here is a steal by Augustine, looking to score again. He tried to shield with the body, up ahead, uncontested, Dorsey.
No defensive balance there whatsoever. Mason down the floor, Abrams down the floor, and Augustine, nobody back.
Keep thinking Dorsey's determined to shatter one of these backboards before the tournament's over.
Well, at midseason, Dorsey was having some problems, but I'll tell you, Jim, in this NCAA tournament, he's having fun out there, showing terrific leadership. You know what an athlete he is.
Yeah, a 4-point turnaround, though. Augustine drive it in and denied. And then the easy one at the other end. Augustine stuck. And another Texas turnover. 7 for the Longhorns. They average only 9 a game.
Abrams didn't help his teammate out at all there because Augustine made the good move. Although that fadeaway jump shot that he likes, he was really looking for Abrams to cut so he could get him to pass.
Here's Rose handling the ball. He's been involved in 9 of their 12 baskets. He's made 5, and he's got 4 assists.
It's a box and 1 now on Chris Douglas-Roberts.
And that pass was tipped by Texas.
Jim, you talk about when you think you've got to remember 5 guys can't be going in that direction with nobody back for defense. It made it much too easy for Memphis. Now watch this. There's a box and 1 being played right now on Chris Douglas-Roberts. Now they go back to their traditional 2-3.
Rose lost the handle going up. Dorsey was there to save it. No look pass Anderson. And that's going to send Memphis to the line. Well, Augustine has scored the last 7 for Texas, but Augustine and Abrams, it has not been easy all afternoon.
And Jim, because of the straight-up matchup, they're not going to get their traditional jump shots. They've got to get it off of penetration and kickouts. Augustine talking to the ref right now, figuring he's getting hammered a little bit on those drives, and he is. But he's playing against some real size and length now.
Andre Allen will come in for Rose, who certainly been, I believe, the biggest star of all for the Tigers to this point.
Without question, Jim, and he was the other day as well.
That's off Memphis. Tigers now with that miss. 7 out of 9 though for the game from the line.
Jim, his line against Stanford the other day, against Michigan State the other day, 10 for 16, 6 or 7 from the foul line, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Just a great performance.
Mason escapes the double team in the backcourt.
Now it's Anderson with his length over here on Augustine, and Mason trying to set something up.
Dish to Pittman. Mason, good work.
I think that's a smart move by Texas. Figure out whatever the best matchup is for the penetration and let any one of those 3 guards penetrate and kick. Not a great perimeter shooting team on the floor right now for Memphis. That zone's going to pack back in.
Taggart out to Allen. Works it back inside Taggart. Banks it in. Hard work for Texas to get a basket, but for Memphis, it hasn't been the case most of the time.
Well, Jim, the team that's on the floor is another breakaway opportunity backcourt.
Augustine tried to save the backcourt violation, but an 8th turnover now committed by Texas. And Memphis dunking its way to a 34-20 lead late first half. Coming up on AT&T at the half, Greg, Clark, and Seth will preview the Davidson, Kansas Midwest Regional Final, which is later today, right after this one. And they'll talk with UCLA head coach Ben Howland about reaching the Final Four for a 3rd consecutive year, plus an AT&T Naismith Watch update, all coming up on AT&T at the half.
Jim, here's that 2-3 zone. Mason having to play back on the back line. You can see what that allows in the center. Anytime that ball goes into Dozier, they can forget about playing 2-3 against this lineup. Because Douglas Roberts can go in there. Dozier not in the ball game. He's done well. Taggart has done well getting in the center of that zone and then just making plays.
Anderson's 3 gives Memphis now its largest lead of the game.
And that is now 24-8 points in the paint. Make it 24-10.
Gary Johnson for Texas.
Those 2 small guards out front. It's so easy to get the ball to the foul line. Douglas Roberts just biding his time, ready to break in there. And there he goes.
Lobs it. Again, it's Dorsey.
This is a tough defense right here for Rick Barnes to try to install against this Memphis club. It just doesn't match up well at all with their personnel.
And again, Ashley spending a good chunk of this half on the bench with 2 fouls.
So you have that 3rd small man in there, meaning the back line is small. So anytime you get a guy in the foul line, you're at a big disadvantage. I like this idea of Mason penetrating, looking for Abrams.
There he is. Abrams jumper. Yes.
That is the answer.
It's a 2-point shot by Abrams. Finally a turnover by Memphis. Rose.
Rick Barnes happy to see a turnover, and finally John Calipari looks at Rose and just settle down. He doesn't want to get on that young man too often. He's playing great. There's Dorsey and another one of his put downs. Pretty easy. The back line just too small.
2 minutes to play in the first half. And Memphis with another impressive first half performance. Augustine. Now Mason surveying at 10 on the shot clock. Loose ball picked up. Augustine 3 on the shot clock. Puts it up. Gary Johnson on the follow. Earns 2 at the line. You can watch exclusive video of Amen Corner Live, plus 15 and 16 live, and bonus coverage of the entire field with Masters Extra at cbssports.com/masterslive and masters.org. That's 2 weeks away.
And Jim, you know, when we had that Memphis Michigan State halftime score of 50-20, 30-point differential, which was just a sensational performance. I had to think back to the 1979 Final Four. Things reversed. Michigan State against Penn was the same kind of performance. Greg Kelser and, of course, Magic Johnson in that ball club. They were leading at halftime 50-17. 33-point advantage in the Final Four.
So you'd been through a game like Friday night before.
Just like it. Dick Enberg that night at halftime said, Al, this game is all yours. Take over and have fun with it. We got out of the way.
Rose goes to the bench for Memphis with 2 fouls. Texas had a great chance to run back the other way. And it's going to stay with the Tigers, who have hit their last 4 shots.
Well, without having Rose at the point right there, Allen's trying to do a little bit too much. Gets his club in some trouble.
Back from the corner. And that's off Texas, off Johnson. Look back out and reset here with about a minute to go in the half.
You see Mason's in the back line, and Dorsey goes and finds him. Say, I want to be right next to you when that shot goes up on the boards.
Douglas Roberts, they double him up, shut it down, and the steal by Abrams.
Nice anticipation by Abrams.
Johnson on the free throw line, short, but gets the roll.
One shot in this half. And Rick Barnes wants him maybe to come out and trap a little bit.
They brought it back from 17 to 11 by scoring the last 6.
He goes to his little... He's got the box in one. And Chris Douglas Roberts. 4 guys in the zone.
Floater, long.
Some block out on Dorsey, who goes down hard.
So the Longhorns, with a little glimmer of hope there at the end by scoring the last 6. It's 39-28 Memphis at the intermission. Greg Gumbel and company coming up on the road to the Final Four.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the Men's Basketball Championship is sponsored by Lexus, Capital One, Old Spice, and by Travelers Insurance.
Memphis has not trailed in this game. They got off to a fast start, 18-8. And actually kept a double-digit lead the last 10.5 minutes of the first half. They have been on the prowl from the start. That's Dorsey, who has 8 points and 7 rebounds. Texas has turned it over 8 times already, almost matching their season average. And what a first half by Derrick Rose with 10 points, 4 assists, a block and a steal. How about the shot chart there for Derrick Rose, Billy?
Well, he's been so efficient, Jim. As you can see, he takes it inside. He hasn't really gone to his long perimeter shot, but he has controlled this first half. And then you take a look on the other side of the table. Augustine having all kinds of problems out here. And remember, just the other day, you had Michigan State with Morgan and Neitzel 0 for 5 and scoreless in the first half. So really shutting down the leading scorers of the opposing teams.
And the in-game box score powered by CBS College Sports Network, the 24-hour college sports channel from CBS Sports. You see Augustine with 7 points, but 4 turnovers. 41 having a good time of it. I know his library's at Texas A&M.
Yeah,
Billy.
he's going to get some heat on that one.
I did see a Giga Maggie there at the back. That saved it.
You know, Jim, you think of this Memphis team, and John Calipari's really worked on his club like, you know, we're the underdog. Nobody respects us as the #1. The lowest they've been ranked all year long is 3rd. You know, they were a number of weeks in the number 1 position until that Tennessee defeat. And they're right now 36-1. The all-time number of wins in NCAA history is 37. Duke did it in 99 and 86, UNLV in 87, Illinois in 05. If Memphis were to go ahead and continue as they're going right now, they tie that today and go to a Final Four where they have a chance to eclipse the all-time number of wins in a given season.
One thing about all those teams you rattled off, though, that have the 37-win seasons, none of them won a championship. How about that?
Not in that particular year.
Yeah, that year. Yeah. Duke 99 and 86 and Illinois 05 and UNLV 87. James turnaround baseliner, and Texas now trims into that lead and brings it down to single digits. It had been at one point late in that first half, a 17-point bulge.
Now here's where the home crowd advantage could pick in. Without question, Texas has that in their favor.
They scored the last 8, and the steal by Abrams.
Oh, good breakout by Augustine.
Augustine, tough shot. He had the spin on it.
Well, he knew that Dozier was right behind him. If he goes up for the traditional right-hand layup, Dozier picks that one off. He uses the rim, shields himself. Great layup.
Only the second field goal of the game for DJ Augustine.
Right away to come out of the box. They stay in their 2-3 zone.
Pass over to Dorsey. Gets it back over. No call. No foul. And it's going to Texas. A quick 4 points here for the Longhorns.
And Jim, that was a big no foul call on Axley, who, there's that layup, using the right hand underneath the left and the rim. But Axley, with 2 fouls, had to sit in that first half. Only played 7 minutes. That would have been his third. That would have been a big, big problem for Texas. Well, they've really got things spread out much better. This is to their advantage.
Now James over Taggart. Jumper, yes.
Now this is the Texas offense that I expected to see in the first half. Spread it out on the perimeter. Stop trying to go inside against that power and get some mismatches.
First 6 points of the half. Last 12 points of the game going back to the first half.
And it's a box and one. You've got Mason and Chris Douglas-Roberts.
It's Taggart. It's up the soft shot.
Long arms of Taggart. Got him playing almost like a 7-footer, Jim, in that low post.
James over to Axley. Saves it to the corner to Abrams. They'll bring it back out high.
But the more spread out they make the game, the better it is for Texas.
Actually, he can shoot the 3. Short with that one. James, though, goes right to the spot. Took it away from Rose. Almost lost the handle.
Nice job by Anderson keeping that ball away from Augustine. Bad switch here.
And a rebound to Anderson. Rose with a double pump.
And if Abrams had gone up there with the ball, he'd have taken Abrams through the basket as well.
It's his first basket since the 10-minute mark of the first half. Got 12 on the game. James driving, fouled, yes, and the basket does not count. They say the foul was outside.
John Calipari has a problem here. Taggart can't handle James. Watch this finish.
Do you think the basket should have counted?
Yes, I do.
So now they just inbound instead. That's the first on Taggart.
Again, really spreading this half court out.
That ball kicked.
Nice move by John Calipari, I think, to go ahead and get Dozier back in the ball game, because James really taking advantage of Taggart, having to try to play him 18, 20 feet from the basket. Just no matchup there. You're seeing Texas now use their quickness to their advantage.
James over Dozier. And Dozier's just so long, he influenced the shot.
And that was the difference. He comes in. That was a good substitution by John Calipari. Again, it's the box and one. Mason playing Chris Douglas Roberts man-to-man. The other four guys are in his zone. Calipari sees it. He's trying to get Rose to set up a new offense to go against the box and one.
Dozier. Again, no call. It's his own miss.
This defense giving Memphis some trouble, isn't it? First time they've had to be thinking their way through the game. They were adjusted so much better to the 2-3 zone.
Dozier long with that, and actually puts it over to Mason. Augustine, wide open shot. Doesn't go. Ashley able to squeeze it to the corner to Abrams. Augustine 2 out of 10 from the floor. That might have been his best look of the game.
Yeah, he glided a little bit on that jump shot, Jim. It was right in front of us. Didn't square up and down.
Fade away, likes this shot.
He does, but it's not as easy going up against Anderson at 6'6". He probably, what would you say, he bounced out about 3 or 4 feet to take that shot?
Yes, he did. And
tough one. You're going away from the basket, but he has it down.
it's Anderson loading it up, banking it home.
I don't think he called that one.
Just after Texas had gotten it within 5, it's the last 7 to Memphis. James. And second try.
I think Connor actually got a piece of that ball on that tap. They stay in the box and one.
Mason steps back. And Mason coming out with it.
Jim, in that box and one, Chris Douglas Roberts has got to make himself more active. If he's not going to move to try to get shots, he's got to go set some screens or get ready for some rebounds, some offensive rebounds.
Ashley jumper. And again, it's all Memphis underneath.
So Mason picking him up. Now, he's taller than Mason, but he's being played man-to-man. He needs to go set some screens to make it Mason have a little bit more trouble.
Rose up high with it over Ashley.
Such a difficult shot.
Memphis withstanding that Texas flurry to open this half, and now they've actually increased the halftime margin by 1. They made up for it in a hurry, didn't they?
Nice curl move right there by Mason. Good recovery.
Augustine gets free in the paint. That was a beautiful move.
Now, as good a job as Rose has done him so far, he just exploded by him on that particular move.
On a long time without a whistle. Still haven't had the under 16 timeout. Rose gets it in. Dorsey delivers and one.
And Dorsey says, guys, I've been open all game in there. I don't know if that's true, but he sure finished that off.
He'll be shooting a free throw out of the timeout. Rose leading the way with 14. Memphis up by a dozen, trying to become the third #1 seed to make it to the Final Four.
Jim, Memphis, UCLA, does that bring up any memories?
73.
Bill Walton, 21 for 22. And here we see Derrick Rose going up in the air, using that body and that strength, alters the shot, and then finishes it off. Young man's quite a talent. And, you know, Jim, looking at that bandage, I think he's stuck with the bandage and not the, again, if he had to go back in there today, forget those stitches. This really hurts Texas. Damian James came out in that start of the second half here and really set the pace with some nice offensive moves, but now he's back on the bench. He had actually had all kinds of foul trouble in the first half and didn't get the minutes necessary.
Dorsey hits the free throw, completes the three-point play. 51-38 Tigers. Actually, up high with the shot.
How about the rebound? Rose. Yeah, you don't mind when that guard gets caught underneath the basket.
Tremendous leaping ability.
Taggart has thrown some lazy passes cross court. It cost him in the first half. Dozier did the same thing. Now they're back to the traditional 2-3 zone, not the box and one they played earlier. And there's Douglas Roberts coming exactly where he wants to.
In the paint. And hitting the shot again.
He is such a factor coming to that foul line. Tough to play the 2-3 against him. And if you're going to play it, the back man has to come up to that foul line and play him almost like he's man-to-man when he fills that opening.
Abrams,
another
again,
step
shot
back.
altered. Yep. And it's going to be Memphis ball. Out of the break. They're on a 14-4 run just after Texas got within 5. It's back to 15.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the Men's Basketball Championship is sponsored by Pontiac, E-Trade, Holiday Inn Express, and by Bud Light.
Here with Billy Packer at the South Regional. Bob Deacons and Bob Fishman in the truck. Jim Nance, and it's a 15-point lead for Memphis, Billy.
And Jim, look at that. The score 53, field goal shooting percentage 51. What did I say earlier today? In Texas losses, they give up 80 points and over 49% shooting.
Right on those numbers.
Memphis is right on those numbers.
How did Memphis make such a quick adjustment after Texas came out hot for the second half?
Well, I think that it was more Texas made the adjustment, spreading themselves out on the offensive end, getting much wider, not trying to go inside. And I think that it caught Memphis a little bit off balance, but since that time they've readjusted, and the zone no factor whatsoever. Just Douglas Roberts, Taggart, guys fill in that hole in that 2-3 zone.
Now match the biggest lead of the game. Ashley's open. Abrams had a hard time getting a clean look all day.
Yep, Jim, what happens is the length of Memphis, they really taking a toll on a guy like Abrams, who's 5'10", just can't get that jump shot off.
He's 1 for 7 from the floor. Rose. And actually able to pluck the rebound.
Rose felt he got hit on the arm, saying, you know, guys, I make that shot if I don't get hit. First thing, Augustine, and that's the first time he's done it in a while, hasn't taken advantage of his opportunity to slip the screen.
Made a great move to split the defenders and strong with the shot. No foul, which is what he's looking for. None here either.
But Jim, what I think that Augustine has been not selfish enough in this ball game. When that solid screen comes, you ought to keep the ball in his hands and just drive on by it, because a lot of times today he's had Dorsey picking him up. Now it'll probably be Taggart or Dozier, and he can beat them to the basket. Straight man-to-man now. Texas gets out of that zone.
And Taggart over Pittman.
Just too easy a look.
10 minutes to go, and Memphis cruising by 19. 10 off the bench for Taggart.
I said at the top, Jim, if I hadn't seen Texas beat Kansas, I would have said there's no way they're going to beat Memphis, because this Memphis team just so long is preventing them to get their normal jump shots off.
And that's a foul on Dozier of Memphis. And his third. The second team foul of the half against the Tigers. Only one on Texas this half. Abrams this time. Yes.
Oh, high arcing shot. That was over Taggart. That was a Stephon Curry arc. Huh?
Yeah.
Very similar.
Very
the
close.
only way he got it off.
Curry and Davidson taking on Kansas in Midwest Regional Final next on CBS. And Douglas Roberts. Shot bounces out. Pittman fights for the rebound. Texas needs to hit a few more threes, get back into this game. James will go for the 2. Dozier with a quick give up to Anderson. We'll bring it back out.
Nice judgment by Anderson. You've got a nice working margin here. Kind of an unsung hero, this Anderson. You know, he plays solid defense, gets tough rebounds, doesn't take bad shots.
And a big part of the reason why here in Houston, first with Neitzel in Michigan State, and now with the guards from Texas, made their time so difficult. Taggart again. He's got a big game going off the bench.
I believe Taggart was in the 3-second lane a long time on that particular play and got away with it.
Augustine shot. Followed up Pittman and one. Stay tuned after this game to see the finalists for the Pontiac game-changing performance of the tournament, and then vote at Pontiac.com/NCAA. You, the fans, decide which school wins a $100,000 general scholarship from Pontiac. That's after the game.
Well, Douglas Roberts goes out, Dozier goes out, but we talk about the depth of this club. You've seen Taggart today. There's not many people he can't start for. Dorsey comes back in, and Kemp, the outstanding shooter, back on the floor for Memphis. A lot of weapons on this team.
A 16-point lead, 8.5 to play.
They also now, Jim, you notice they've been using a little clock each time down the floor, making this game extend on out for them.
Rose gets high on the first step. And that's going to Texas.
Rose wants to know, what is it going to take for me to draw a foul on the inside? Pretty good job by Pittman hanging in there.
Texas is going to go to fouling them here late in the stretch and having them earn their final points at the line, which has been
they better start soon.
Yeah, better start fouling. I only got one Texas foul in this half. So a break in the action here with Memphis up 16. Billy Memphis with only one loss on the season. Well, Calipari is here on both ends of this one.
Yeah, you remember that Massachusetts team came in ranked #1 in the nation. Marcus Camby, John Calipari brought them to the Final Four in the Meadowlands, and Rick Pitino and that sensational Kentucky team knocked them off in the semis. So John Calipari knows what it's like to be a one-loss team. You know, the other thing that, you know, he's starting to set some pretty interesting records. This is his third straight 30-win seasons.
Not many guys have done that.
Yeah, absolutely. Adolph Rupp did it twice, and a guy by the name of Ben Holland did it yesterday. So we're talking about modern history going back with the old, but pretty impressive. 16
years as a head coach. Only Roy Williams has won more games through his first 16 years as a head coach than John Calipari. Augustine of Texas trying to find one last burst of energy here at the end. Mason.
Well, Augustine, as great as he is, has never understood today how he was being played. Just on that occasion, example, he's not going to be able to take it all the way to that basket. To get to the foul line and kick out is about as far as he needs to go. Dorsey, good position
over Johnson.
Then we're at the 7-minute mark. I realize that Memphis has shot free throws well, but are we going to get into the hack-a-shack in a little bit here?
If you're going to do it, again, Texas has committed only one foul in the half. So,
hey, you got to commit something just to get to the point where they beat you.
That's right. You got to start the hacking process.
The other thing John Calipari's doing really well now for the stretch drive, he's resting his key starters.
Well, there's a foul on Texas. Allen will be shooting free throws after the break. 20-9 stretch here for the Tigers after the lead has been cut to 5.
Well, Jim, you take a look at a game right there. Kansas-Davidson, if you had been talking about that game 2 weeks ago, Selection Sunday, you say, first of all, it's never going to happen. And if you were talking about it, you say, well, if it did happen, Kansas certainly would be in a blow-away status right there. But Davidson has played outstanding basketball. We had them last weekend. It's more than a one-man team, and I'll be shocked if they can beat Kansas, but they have played solid basketball against the likes of North Carolina, UCLA, Duke, of course Georgetown. But you had them go through the Big East, the Big Ten champion, and now they have a chance for the Big 12 champion.
See what Richards did the other night?
Assist turnover?
13 assists, no turnover.
Right. Assist turnover ratio of 13-0. Not bad.
So actually back on the floor. You wouldn't put anything past him to hang in there with Kansas today, huh?
Yes, I don't think that they can beat Kansas. I mean, I do put something past them. I think that what I put past them is I think that Kansas is one of the 4 best teams in the country without question.
Rose comes back in for Allen.
A nice piece of coaching there by John Calipari, and the fact that he was able to rest his guys, get down his last 6 minutes. He gave Allen a nice tap on the shoulder for what he did with Rose sitting down there. You can't really fault anybody that he's brought in off the bench. They just have been kind of a mistake-proof team today. That first half, they only had 5 turnovers to Memphis.
Ashley hits the 3.
Dorsey a little upset with himself there because he knows on the scouting report he was told Ashley can step out and drill 3-point shots.
Douglas Roberts can too, but not this time.
Kind of surprised he took that.
Abrams tries to.
And again, every time that Abrams shoots the step-back jumper, instead of being guarded by maybe a 6'2 guy, he's being guarded by Anderson, who's 6'6. Alters that shot. Pretty aggressive defense here.
And that's what they caught on Augustine after the pass.
Yeah, that had to come from some little comment made earlier. You know what? Because Augustine's smarter than that.
Or they're trying to start racking up the fouls.
Well, you don't want them that way, though. I mean, that one could have been called a little bit rough. Elbow up in the chest.
It's Mason giving a chase.
One of the good things you can do as a player, though, is to try to steal the ball and commit the foul.
Douglas Roberts sailing in, and there is the foul.
Took a pretty good shot to the nose, did Chris Douglas Roberts.
NCAA March Madness Central, powered by the first ever Pontiac G8, is your home for live look-ins, in-game highlights, and more throughout the tournament. Check it out only on the CBS College Sports Network. Gary Johnson with his 2nd foul.
You can see him get hit right in the bridge of the nose here. Kept the concentration, though, to keep an eye on that rim. Almost made the shot. And Jim, if you're going to go into the hack-a-shack presentation, you don't want to do it on guys close enough to make a shot. I mean, you want to do it and try to make a steal out in the open court. So even if you get called for the foul, it doesn't hurt you. And maybe you get away with the steal.
And Memphis today, 10 out of 12 from the free throw line. Actually, not 12 out of 14.
But Anderson just not giving Abrams anything.
Good work by Gary Johnson.
Here's where you go for the steal right now. Even if you commit the foul, try an aggressive steal on this dribble.
He did. He reached around. Rose got away. Back out, Douglas Roberts.
He loves that little pull-up jumper. That's where he's so effective against the zones. He gets inside, does that little pull-up.
And Dorsey comes crashing in for the board. On the floor, though, Texas fighting for it. Gary Johnson. Taggart says, no, you won't. Up ahead, Anderson. Dunk time for Memphis.
Well, you can't fault Texas there. Everybody's scrambling for the loose ball. Good presence of mind by Memphis with Anderson 4-on-1 down the other end, all by himself.
And Augustine on the drive. Contact with Rose. And it's called on Rose. The top-rated dramas on television are back and all new on CBS. Don't miss their return. It's coming up all this week. Right here on CBS.
Douglas Roberts trying to tell that official he's getting pushed in the chest on the dribble.
Augustine. With James bringing it back out. think about the guards that Memphis now looks like it's going to be playing UCLA. And what those guards from UCLA will be facing after what we've seen here in Houston.
Well, you're going to have a much better matchup in terms of size in regard to UCLA.
The likes of Russell Westbrook and Darren Collison.
Yeah, they've got quickness, and they also have size. Westbrook, one of the best and one of the most improved players this year in college basketball, and right now has positioned himself to be one of the premier guards in college basketball.
It's now 5 team fouls on Texas, still a couple away from the 1-and-1.
You've got to go for the steal right here and commit the foul. It doesn't hurt you at all if you're Texas.
There's Abrams doing just that.
Yeah.
They'll have the under 4 break. Memphis led at halftime by 11. Texas came out quickly, moved within 5, but it's climbed to 19. Billy, this hasn't been a problem for Memphis here in Houston Friday night nor today.
No, it really hasn't, Jim. And, you know, having watched them, and I talked to John Calipari about this, I said, your team has too good a stroke to be shooting that poorly. It's just a matter of concentration. They have been concentrating and doing well. You know, in 04, Connecticut shot 62% from the foul line. They won a national championship. But the last 10 years, as I said earlier, the champion has shot over 70%, 70.4. CCNY way back in 1950 shot 58%, and then Oklahoma A&M, and boy, Coach Iba, you know, I'd like to reach out to that great man right now and say, Coach, in 1945 you won a national championship. Your guy shot 56% from the foul line. How could one of the great coaches in the history of the game have a team shoot 56%? Must be shooting square balls or something. Must have been laces on him that got in the way. That was backcourt.
Yeah, had a foul called foul on Mason instead. And you saw the graphic. They're third from the bottom in all of Division I basketball, 339th in the nation. But today, 12 out of 14. Now they're into the 1-and-1. As Texas is committed at 7th.
Jim, I think on that particular play right there, I think Rose had his foot in the backcourt before the contact took place. So a break for Memphis. This young man set the pace.
Yes, he did, right at the start. He was 6 out of 7 from the line against Michigan State.
Look at these strokes. I mean, these fellas can shoot the ball. Sometimes it just gets in your head that you're not making the free throws. Guys aren't concentrating, but or you just have bad mechanics. If this team doesn't have bad mechanics.
Rose and Douglas Roberts at the line are delivering. Rose now with 16 points and 9 assists.
Time for throwing up the long threes right now. Connor Ashley, Abrams.
That'll send Augustine to the line. And tonight on 60 Minutes, a baseball genius who helped win the World Series. What are his secrets? You'll find out tonight on 60 Minutes. That's going to be it for Dozier. It's his 5th.
Well, and John Calipari taking advantage of the ability to put in another guy brings everybody over there for a cheap timeout. I think that's a really good thing for all coaches to do. You get an opportunity to assemble your team while you're getting that other player in the game. Now the referee's going over to tell him he better get out on the floor. And in the meantime, he's had a free 1-minute timeout.
And you've left the other team out on the floor just standing around.
Absolutely. Good piece of coaching there. Tim Augustine on the line is going to become the 15th player since 1963 to be a first-team All-American and a first-team academic All-American. I mentioned that Connecticut team in 04, Mecca Okafor. Remember, he fell into that category.
He was the last one, in fact. He was the last one to win All-American honors on both.
Shane Battier, remember the great leader of Duke, was one of those fellows in that category.
You know, you look at those some of the names on that list, Billy.
Bill Bradley wasn't a bad one to pick out, but he did not win a national championship. The two I just mentioned did.
Bill Walton.
Bill Walton, yes.
2 by Augustine.
You know, when Walton played in college, you never got to know him because he was shielded very well by Coach John Wooden, and so you never knew the personality that he had. Everybody thought he was some kind of a renegade, but obviously he did a great job in the classroom.
Ian Mooney comes in for Texas, and that's Augustine.
I'll tell you, that's exactly what Chris Douglas Roberts was talking about before. Augustine has been going after him with some strong shots.
Yeah, these two who share the first team All-America honors on that first team together.
Yeah, that has to come from a little bit of talking. Watch this. That's a pretty strong shot going in there. But if they were going to go into the hack-a-shack, they needed to start a lot earlier.
Again, it's a 1-1. Two away from the double bonus.
Two-time player of the year in Conference USA. Kid's a solid player right here. Very difficult matchup because he can finish strong on the inside. Got that nice little pull-up jumper. Not a great three-point shooting range, but tough to guard. And like most of the Memphis players, when he's listed at 6'5", because of the length, he really plays 6'7".
So again, they hit the free throws, Billy. 15 out of 17. They are. Here's Augustine hitting a three. Timeout, Rick Barnes.
The offensive strategy, if Texas goes back and looks at this game, is what they should have been employing a long time ago.
Did you ever think, we've come close before, this would be the year where we'd have, and of course Kansas still has to play, Memphis has to finish this one off, but serious run here at all four number ones, Billy. It's never happened before. Did you sense that on Selection Sunday? Because you had the 10 teams 2 weeks before the tournament you felt were all jockeying for it.
No, I thought
it had one line.
I thought that somebody could be beaten in that group because, as you pointed out there, that clubs that were vying for that number one spot were still strong the last weekend of the season.
Memphis having a hard time inbounding. Timeout, Tigers. North Carolina and UCLA making it to the Final Four yesterday, and 3 minutes and 19 seconds to go and an 18-point lead. Pretty safe to say Memphis gets advanced in the brackets now too.
I would agree with that, Jim. It's kind of amazing at the point differentials too in these games that we've had. In the last 10 games have been 153 points, or an average of 15.3 points per game, and the mean average is 18 points a game. And we only have one game that was played in the last 10 below 10 points. And that was that 3-point game, Mississippi State against Memphis.
Ian Mooney out there on the floor, and he has some fouls to give up. And we'll head back to the bench. The senior from Austin, Willie Kemp, will shoot 1-1. Memphis 9 out of 9 this half from the free throw line.
And here, when you look at that lineup change, they only have one big man in the game, but that's where Anderson then and Chris Douglas Roberts can move up to the front line, so there's still a pretty big ball club. John Calipari sitting over there pretending like he doesn't know what the free throw percentage is.
Yeah. There's always been so many people say that it would lead to their undoing, that they would not make it to the Final Four, that would step up at most inopportune time on the road to the Final Four and be the difference.
He's hugging Kemp over there now, and I guarantee you, if we talk to him after this game, Jim, we'll have to give him something about this free throw shooting.
Actually,
there's a nice looking stroke from out there, doesn't he? But Texas just didn't get to the spreading everything out, driving and kicking out for threes early enough. It's about their only advantage they had in this game.
5 out of 18 from 3, Billy.
Yeah, well, most of those threes were not where they spread things out. They were trying to shoot over the bigger defender.
Like that right there.
Exactly.
And it still comes off the back of the rim and drops for Abrams for 3.
Dangerous pass.
Augustine almost able to make the theft. Tomorrow on CBS, The Big Bang Theory kicks off a night of all new comedy. What shenanigans will Sheldon and Leonard be up to tomorrow night? Find out at 8, 7 Central on CBS. The popular new Big Bang Theory on CBS. Mason has fouled out for Texas.
You know, Jim, because Conference USA is off the radar screen of the BCS conference powers that get most of the attention, John Calipari probably is not getting the attention of some of these records. We've talked about a couple that he brought up today, but one of 5 coaches that have taken 2 different schools to a #1 rank. But the 2 schools that he took were not BCS conference schools. Massachusetts and Memphis. Now, nobody else has done that. Frank McGuire actually took 3. He took St. John's, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Another guy that's active in this tournament, Roy Williams, took North Carolina and Kansas. And you have Ralph Miller and Eddie Sutton are the other 2 guys that make up that list. But you're talking about high cotton here. He hasn't been jumping up and down much on that sideline either today. He's just loving this free throw shooting exhibition.
You know, I think a little bit of UNLV when Tarkanian had it going so strong in the 80s and of course won the championship at 90, and you know, all season long people knew that they were going to race through their conference. Here's Abrams with another 3, and he's hit 2 straight.
See, what happened right there is an offensive pattern that will work for Texas, because Dorsey ends up with a quicker Abrams, can't stay with him.
14-point margin, 2:37 to play. So Memphis out of Conference USA, and this is a host site with a couple of its colleagues from that conference. You know, University of Houston and Rice, the host institutions here.
You made that example with Jerry Tarkanian's UNLV teams that used to be kind of off the radar as far as a major conference and yet still a dominant team. I'll tell you the guy that used to do that, and this was before they were ever in a conference, and that's Al McGuire when he was at Marquette as an independent. You know, he'd take a team to a #1 ranked position, play anybody, anywhere at any time.
Abrams reaching in. It'll be a double bonus now the rest of this game. And this week on CBS, 2 new episodes. 2 unforgettable nights talking about CSI Miami tomorrow and Tuesday. All new. Only on CBS.
You know, he used to say to me, you know why I always scheduled my most difficult opponent on the road the last game of the season? I'd say, no, I can't figure that out. He says, nobody cares whether you win or lost because the committee has already picked the field. So you schedule the most difficult opponent on his court the last day of the season. You catch him the next year when it really means something. He said, that game is not going to go into the figuring as to who gets in the tournament. Pretty clever, huh?
Also give himself a chance, maybe if his team lost that game, to go into the tournament and say, hey guys, I'm playing well. Here's what you got to do now. You're going to listen to me.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, his last season, he played at Michigan the last Sunday of the season.
77.
Lost, and then marched through to win the national championship.
Rose tips it. Abrams able to race to it. Trying for another 3.
Don't need to give Abrams much room, but he hasn't had hardly any today. This is going to be a long 3 minutes here. We've got nothing but fouls, and about 6 seconds goes off the clock each time.
Going to make Memphis earn every last point here.
But that last one that Chris Douglas Roberts missed was the first free throw they shot today where a guy leaned instead of staying with his shot. Let's see how Allen does.
Again, 2 the rest of the way. How about the idea, Billy, that Memphis, once the brackets came out, I know they felt it. They talked to you about it, in fact, on the floor on Friday night. People trying to forecast the 4 teams that would make it to San Antonio, and the popular 1 seed by so many of the pundits out there to be knocked out on the road there, not to make it, was Memphis. Sure, John Calipari.
I think he's working everybody with some of these psychological statements.
Why wouldn't you? Abrams, quick draw. And again, it rattles in.
See, he does not need much room at all to get that shot off.
So timeout, Texas. 2 minutes, 4 seconds remaining here in Houston. Jim Nance and Billy Packer here for the final 2 minutes. Memphis has never trailed in this game. You got to think it's going to be either Rose or Douglas Roberts will be the most outstanding player of the regional.
Yeah, I'm going to say that Rose be the MVP, Jim. He was truly outstanding in the game the other day, and was the guy that set the pace for this game early on today.
There's been only 1 turnover in this entire second half. Texas has gone now 22 minutes since its last turnover. Remember, they had 8 in the first half. Would have been 1, and it was committed in this half by the Tigers. Rose almost
I don't know if he was looking up court. I don't know if he realized Mooney was standing there.
Wednesday on CBS, Criminal Minds returns. All new episodes, and it's Wednesday at 9/8 Central. Here on CBS.
What Rick Barnes has done, Jim, he is in about 46 seconds has taken about 4 or 5 possessions to, just used up 40 seconds.
2 for Rose. Memphis's last 10 points.
You see what Mooney's going to do. He comes out. Augustine comes back in. His job is to commit a foul as fast as he can.
Last 10 points for the Tigers have come from the line.
And, with this work in margin, obviously the foul shooting pressures are not the same as the game is tight.
That's right.
But so this strategy not quite the same. Ooh, Derrick Rose takes a real shot.
James with a 3 for Texas. Tipped out to Abrams. Quick turnaround 3. What a shot.
He doesn't need much room, Jim.
J.D. Lewis is on the floor for the Longhorns.
They've got this thing down to 13. And Rick Barnes has extended this game as long as he can.
Could have started this tactic maybe at the 10-minute mark.
I thought it about 7.5.
I did too.
Yeah.
Brought it up about that time.
Because at that time, remember, he hadn't even committed enough fouls to go ahead and get him on the line.
We had one.
He had a way at that point to commit these fouls, trying to steal the ball, and then put him on the line with maybe 5 minutes to go as opposed to 2 minutes to go.
Rose gets them both.
Nice soft touch.
Here's Augustine. And that's actually over the back.
Actually complaining that he was pushed by Dorsey, but I don't think so.
Augustine, Billy, 4 out of 18 from the field.
Well, again, we saw in the game on Friday, Memphis length really has altered some jump shots. And they did it again today. In that Michigan State game, it was just amazing how they made everything so tough for Neitzel to get off any kind of a jump shot. Neitzel was 2 for 8 in that game, and remember, Jim, he didn't score until what, the last minute and 30 seconds.
Right. Made 2 baskets in the final 140.
Is that what it was, 140?
Yeah.
Finished his great career with 6 points, and a lot of that due to the tremendous defense by Anderson.
You're right, they don't have the end of the game pressure on these free throws, but they are 27 of 32 nonetheless.
Well, one of the other things that will help them, Jim, is the experience to know what they did do. Confidence is a major factor in shooting free throws.
James, and he is fouled by Memphis. The Chevrolet players of the game are Justin Mason from Texas, 7 points, 7 rebounds, and Derrick Rose with 20 points, 9 assists from Memphis.
Pretty good 2-game stretch for Rose. 27, 4 rebounds, 5 assists against Michigan State, and almost a flawless game here today.
And his last touch by Texas.
James got a piece of that.
Willie Kemp coming back out, Taggart as well. Memphis with some strong support here. Obviously, Texas is going to have a huge throng on hand, but the Tiger supporters, they got out here and made the trip and supported them as well, their team.
Well, we talked about Memphis being a pretty strong team in Texas now. Are 12-2 in this state in NCAA tournament play. So, and two of their Final Four situations, and this will be the third one, go right through the state to get to a Final Four.
Yeah, you think back in 1973, they went through the regional here with wins over South Carolina and Kansas State, which put them into the Final Four, and went all the way to the championship game, as you mentioned. That was the Larry Finch team. that ran into UCLA, and one of the great single performances in the history of college basketball by Walton in the championship. And then that 85 Keith Lee-led team, their first and second round games were here in Houston before they went to the regional in Dallas. So imagine that. You go to 3 Final Fours and you have Houston as a part of it on all 3.
You know, when you think of that UCLA game, and we all think about Walton's 21 for 22 in the semifinals, the Providence game, Larry Keenan had 28 points and 22 rebounds. So it's not like Walton was playing against a guy who couldn't handle things.
I also remember the great play of Greg Lee, who kept just the perfect passes, laying it on the rim or just above the rim. Couldn't dunk it back then, but.
Yeah, and after the 21 or 22 performance, Coach Wooden said, I have seen William play better. Well, at this point, you know, Jim, there is no opportunity to win. I think that we'll see Rick Barnes pull off this strategy. You don't want to annoy even your own fans here.
17 fouls in this half by Texas, and 11 of them in the last 2.5 minutes.
The strategy no longer a factor. That's why, you know, if you're going to start it, you start at the 7-minute mark. But now, no matter what happens with 46 seconds to go, you're not going to overcome this margin.
Ian James has fouled out for the Longhorns.
Augustine and Abrams still out on the floor.
Texas had that chance, Billy, to have one of the shortest trips to a Final Four we've seen in some time. 80 miles from Boston to the Alamo Dome. Not going to matter now. But it reminded you of Duke in '94. It was about 140 miles from Durham to Charlotte.
Kansas going from Lawrence down to Kansas City with Danny Manning at 88.
About 41 miles.
And of course you had UCLA playing right at home in LA a few times, so to win national championships. So that was a trip across town. Rose rightfully goes up for the rebound and gets it, and Rick Barnes said enough is enough.
Yeah, he says it's over.
Yep. 2 tremendous performances by Memphis here in this arena.
They started this game with an 18-8 lead, led by 11 at halftime. They got the lead up to 21 at one point. They are going to have to unload it here, about 3-second differential.
I think Allen will like putting up a shot.
No? Yeah, he gives it up. And they just turn it over to Texas. Memphis has its moment. What a performance. The Tigers are going to stay in Texas. Next week, San Antonio.